As grandparents who may be going to court at some point related to raising your grandchildren, either as parties in a case or as witnesses, you'll want to get ready for your visit, and I'm going to give you a few tips or suggestions about your trip to court. One group of things is ideas you can think about ahead of time so that you feel prepared, and the second topic is things to do once you get to court so that your visit is more successful. Ahead of time, there are 3 or 4 things that are actually under your control that you can do to be ready. The first one is to think about your appearance. What are you going to wear? Are you clean and tidy and fresh and looking professional? You may want to dress as if you were going to an interview as a bank teller. Just something that's tidy, a button-down shirt tucked into your pants or skirt. You don't need to look like a lawyer, but you do need to look like you're treating your court visit with respect, because that way the other participants are more likely to treat you professionally and with respect, which will make your visit more successful. Another thing to think about ahead of time is what are you allowed to bring with you or not. When you go to the courthouse, you'll be going through a metal detector just like at an airport security. And you should not have guns or knives or mace or other dangerous items with you. You're not allowed tobacco, chewing gum, food or drink in the courtroom. And of course, you'll need to turn off your cell phone. Another thing you might have planned to bring with you, which is not a good idea, would be your children. If you have your grandchildren in your care, you'll need to make an arrangement for someone else to take care of them that day, because most judges don't allow children in the courtroom, and most courthouses don't have a child care facility. Another thing you can do ahead of time is plan your visit with the court, what you want to tell the judge. I like to make an outline, not a script, but just a list of 4 or 5 items that are really important that I want to cover so that I'm sure I won't forget them when I'm talking. The other thing I write down is any specific pieces of data that I might forget if I choke or freeze when someone's asking me questions. It can be a little nerve-wracking to be in court and answering questions. So if you're prepared and you have your critical facts written down, then you have the confidence that you can take a deep breath and you won't forget. That makes it easier for everyone on the day of the hearing. My favorite request or suggestion for you on your own behalf is that you take a field trip before you go to court. Do a dry run. Plan a day that you can drive to the courthouse and figure out where to park. How long does it take you to get into the courthouse and go through security? You might want to leave a little extra time in case there's a long line on the day of your hearing. Find your way to the courtroom. Go in, sit in the benches in the back. Our courts are open to the public, and anyone can go in and watch a hearing. You can go into the very courtroom where your judge will be and look around the room. See where people sit, how they talk, how they interact, what kind of a judge you have, whether he or she approaches people in one way or another, so you don't have to have anxiety about that part when you go for your court visit. Once you've done those things, you should be ready, and on the day of your visit, it will be a simpler and more calm time for you when you get to court. When you get to the courthouse for your hearing, now you know your way in because you've done a dry run. You go into the courtroom and wait.
All rise. Court is now in session.
Once the judge comes in, everyone will be asked to stand, and you'll need to have proper courtroom manners. One part of that, of course, is referring to the judge as Your Honor. The participants refer to one another as Mr. or Ms., and we use polite language, please and thank you, ma'am and sir, because this is a fairly formal setting. When you're testifying, you'll be asked to approach the witness stand and to raise your right hand to swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be truthful. Once you sit down, you'll be asked to answer questions. The purpose of this is a fact-finding mission. You're sharing the information you have with the judge as the fact-finder so that he or she can make good decisions about the best interests of your grandchild. If someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer, say so. This is not an oral exam. You can say, I don't know, and you won't be graded off. If you don't remember, say, I don't remember. If someone asks you a question that's confusing, that's okay. You can ask them to repeat the question or state it in a different way. The purpose is for you to share the information you have with the court so that the judge can make good decisions for your grandchild. Another thing to think about in terms of courtroom demeanor is to stay calm. This is not a place for yelling, swearing, vulgar language. And it's also not a place for screaming and crying and becoming emotionally distraught. If you're calmer and more focused, you can look back to your outline to make sure you have shared the important information that's your priority. You'll give better quality information to the court so that the judge can make the best decisions for your grandchild. And that, of course, is your purpose. Another thing important in the court is to stay quiet. Whether it's your hearing or the one ahead of time while you're waiting, you need to be quiet. You can take notes, you can whisper very quietly to the person next to you, but you wouldn't want to interrupt or argue or to make a scene in the courtroom. It's not polite to make faces, to stick out your tongue, to cop an attitude, or to shake your head when someone else is testifying. Wait your turn, you'll be called on. When you have a chance to speak, you'll be able to share your perspective and priorities and goals so that the court will have good information to make decisions for your grandchildren. Best wishes to you with your court visit. I hope you have a satisfactory experience with a positive result for both you and your grandchild or grandchildren.